Good morning, everybody, and welcome to week 2 of Writer's Craft. Please forgive my appearance this morning. It's messy Monday at our school. We have Spirit Week going this week, so hence the uncombed hair and unshaved face. What I want to do is just sort of quickly talk about last week. There's not a whole lot to talk about because things went well. To make a few comments there, but mostly to just give you a sense of what this week's lessons are all about. So from where I'm sitting, things seem to have gone well. Like I said, the assignments are coming in, emails coming in, discussion posts being made and made well. The quality of the writing on the discussion forum I think is good. Some of you still haven't updated your profile picture. So here's the thing. From our point of view, it is very hard to have a discussion with you if you are like the outline of a person, or if you are like a shadow, or like some sort of avatar that, you know, it's not really a face. It's e-learning is hard enough already, like it's impersonal. So please make sure you update that profile picture. Like I said, wear a toque, wear glasses, wear like a, like that fake nose with like the glass in the eyebrows. You can do that too. Really doesn't matter, just as long as we know throughout the course who we're talking to. It really does help from our side of it. So please make sure you get that done, and thank you for your cooperation. So I think the only comment that I really want to make for like the quality of work that was coming in is to make sure that you look over the assignment sheet well and the success criteria, so you deliver on what's being asked. Make sure that you also actually do go through the content though, and don't just skip right to the assignment, because you do miss things that way. And especially for this week, the topics that we're dealing with this week, I'm sure that you could look at those and say, oh, I could probably skip the content and go right to the assignment, and I'd be worried that you'll do very poorly. All right, so please make sure that you do take time. There's only 3 lessons for the week, and the course content for this course seems to be, it's pretty short. So make sure you go through it, make sure you understand the content, and then do the assignment. All right. Other than that, I think things are going well. Make sure that you get in contact with me though, if you need to, with any questions or concerns you might have as you're going through the content. So if you come to a particular concept and you don't really understand it well, make sure that you do just fire me off an email and I will be happy to explain. So this week, lesson 4, 5, and 6 is what we're going to be doing. Lesson 4 is on plagiarism and MLA style. So you'll look at this and say, okay, I know how to not plagiarize things. This is going to be kind of like a walk in the park. But actually, citation style is what's more important, and it's very important going forward into university, where things generally don't get marked with rubrics. So here's the situation you're going to find yourself in. You're going to be in a class of maybe 400 people next year, and your work is not going to be graded by the professor. It's going to be graded by teaching assistants who are like students who are going for a master's degree or maybe a doctorate, and they hate you because you're a waste of their time. They would much rather be doing their research and their writing, but to make some money, they've decided to take on this task, or to get in good with like the faculty, they've taken on this task. They don't like grading your work, and if you get a really crusty TA, they will, like any excuse they can come up with to take marks away, they will do that. And citation style is like a really easy way because it doesn't take any reading. You just look at it and you can tell. So I look at the essay and I can tell if it's formatted correctly. So with MLA style, it's a Modern Language Association, which is what's used in English departments and other departments too. There's a particular way that you format your document. Like it's got to have a certain font size, a certain font type. The first page has to look a certain way. The margins have to be a certain size. And all this seems like it's really like trivial, but it actually is important when it comes to creating documents. People take it seriously in the world of academics, and you will lose marks if you Like, don't have your work double spaced, you lose marks for it. Or if your font size is one size too big or too small, you lose marks for it. Even more though is the actual like referencing style. So when you drop in a quotation or a paraphrase, which I'm hoping that at this point you can do both. If not, like the content explains, what those are. You have to cite your source, and you know that you have to cite it, but people often don't cite it correctly. Like if you're doing an MLA citation out of a book, it's got to be author and page with no comma. You put that comma in there, you lose a percentage off of your assignment, So, and then with bibliographies too, you have a comma instead of a period, or a period instead of a comma, or you forget to italicize your title, or whatever. You put something out of order, you lose marks. And so those little marks though, those are the ones you don't want to lose on assignments when you're, especially in your first year of university, when you're just kind of like trying to get your head in the game and survive. If you can get all those little marks, then your overall mark is going to be just that little bit higher, and it's going to make you feel a lot better to know that you're doing well on your assignments. So I'm going to be like ultra strict when I grade your work for the plagiarism activity. You're going to be taking some information and writing a paragraph on perseverance, or a series of paragraphs. It's up to you. The structure doesn't matter. But I'm going to be really strict on making sure that you're following MLA style, because my thoughts are if you can follow MLA, then when you go to university, if they say, okay, we're going to use APA style, then you'll be able to figure that out, or you'll be able to, Chicago style, or whatever style that they use. Some universities and colleges even have like their own in-house style, and you have to learn what it is. All right, so bottom line is, make sure that you pay close attention to detail. The punctuation in your bibliography or your works cited list is important. I will be, making sure, or I will be marking it really strictly. So make sure that you have it figured out well. Also make sure that you can put quotations into your work correctly. So you should be leading into them with a few words, not just like dropping quoted material in, and just like for flow. And if your work is longer, or if it comes from a work of poetry, there are changes you have to make to your structure when you put that into your work, and all that is in the content, so you should hopefully be able to figure it out. Lesson 5 is on grammar, which again, you'll look at that and say, well, I have good grammar, I should be able to skip this. Or you might say, well, I've got terrible grammar and I don't care, so I'm going to skip this too. Please don't. The quality of your language says a lot about you, actually. It's more important than you know. You make a first impression on people in like the world of work based on the quality of your language. People associate effective grammar with professionalism and competence, and people also associate the opposite with the opposite. So I'm sure that you're all really bright people, but if your essays or your emails or covering letters or whatever else you might be writing, your lab reports, if they're full of grammar mistakes, you run the risk of being interpreted as being somebody who's less intelligent or less competent. So there's a lot of grammar to learn, and the ministry content that they gave me was like just this big page of hyperlinks that looked like super boring. So what I did was I went on YouTube and I found videos that I looked at them first to make sure that they'd be worthwhile, and they've got like nice clear explanations of the grammar that I would like you to learn and to use for the course. So really important, the things that you're learning in this particular lesson don't just get used in this lesson, like those will be used throughout the entire course. So make sure that you actually learn this grammar, because there's going to be a payoff for you in the real world anyways. When, not that you have to have perfect grammar, because, my grammar is not perfect, but it's very good. And as a result, it does reflect well upon me as a professional. So, and the opposite is also true. Come to me before, say, here, check out this email that came from, so-and-so, and it's like, shouldn't a teacher be able to write better than this? So just, it's more important than maybe you realize at this point and it's going to be something that I'm going to be grading throughout the whole course, so you might as well take your time, go through, make sure that you know what all the mistakes are, make sure that you know what all the rules are, make sure that you don't make those mistakes, make sure that you follow those rules, all right? Then before I move on, one of the assignments for that is called the grammar police assignment. So basically what I'm going to get you to do is to go back through the discussions that we've already had in the first week and look for people's grammar mistakes. So don't take this personally. Like, I've opened it's wide open. So feel free to criticize Mr. M for the sentence fragments that he makes from time to time. So it's wide open, and don't take it personally when people pick grammar mistakes out of your work, all right? This is all actually part of like the workshopping process, which we'll get into in like a lesson later on. It is hard to put yourself out there. We know we have a personal attachment to our writing. I often use the analogy of writing being like children, in the same way that you wouldn't want somebody criticizing your child, you wouldn't want somebody criticizing your writing. You take it personally when they do so. But as a writer, you do have to learn how to take criticism. And so people will be going through and looking for grammar mistakes and picking them out respectfully, because that's what intelligent people do when they criticize other people's work. So just to be aware that assignment, and that's a nice easy level 4 for you. Just have a look at the success criteria and you'll say like, wow, here's a way for me to like grab a few marks. Last lesson is on an actual writing technique, so we get away from sort of like the nuts and bolts of things and into some style. So looking at the idea of showing as opposed to telling. And there is a definite difference between those things, and you're going to learn what the difference is, and you're going to be writing an anecdote. So an anecdote is a very short story and it's typically amusing, and it's about something that happened to you or to somebody you know. It's about a real life person, a real life event, and but it does follow story convention. So there does have to be plot, characters, and setting for it. And you're going to be graded based on the amusing type of anecdote. So I'm going to be looking for you to see if you can make me laugh. I laughed a lot, by the way, at some of those satirical responses. Like, had me like actually laughing at my computer as I was grading them. So really well done for those of you who got the hang of satire. And if you didn't, we'll get back to that later on, after you've had a chance to look at the feedback and stuff and had time to think about it. This time it's an anecdote, and try to make it funny, and I've got some instruction for you in the content to help you with that, because it's easy to say, okay, make it funny, but there are actually things that writers do, comedy writers do, in order to make the writing more funny, and the instructional video is 5 minutes, and I think that it's well worth the watch. All right, so that's what our week looks like. 3 assignments out for you and already published and ready to go, so get to work. We're going to be off the discussion forum pretty much this week, so don't worry, because I thought people would be very self-conscious about posting anything on the discussion board with those grammar police wandering around. So we'll keep away from the discussion board except for that grammar police activity. We'll get back to it next week. This time it's mostly just putting things in the Dropbox. And like I said before at the outset of the video, if you have any questions or need any help, make sure that you send me an email.